What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be showcasing a brand new exotic weapon that was just added to Destiny 2 with the launch of Season of the Haunted, aka Season 17. And so, let's get started. Now, this weapon is the Trespasser, a brand new exotic sidearm. It's available immediately if you buy Season of the Haunted from level 1 of the Season's Pass, or if you're a free-to-play player, you can still gain access to it at level 35 within that very same Season's Pass. So let's take a look at what this thing actually does. At a base level, it's a 491 rounds per minute sidearm, which puts it in that adaptive frame 3-round burst archetype. Stats-wise, they're pretty good across the board, and it boasts incredible stability. Now, moving on from there, in terms of perks, the intrinsic trait is Unrepentant. Reloading after defeating a target causes the next burst to be a longer, more powerful super burst. But it also has another additional unique trait called Be the Danger. Final blows with Unrepentant super bursts automatically reload your weapon and provide an Unrepentant super burst. So what the heck does that mean in game? Well, essentially, you're going to have to get that first initial kill, and when you're doing that, the weapon's going to behave pretty much like every other legendary 3-round burst sidearm. But once you get that kill, you're going to have to manually reload the weapon, and then you're going to see a timer pop up on the left corner of your screen called Unrepentant. You have about 8 to 10 seconds of that perk being active. Then your next shot essentially is going to be that super burst, and it really is a super burst. It's going to do more damage. It shoots way more bullets than 3. It really seems to be a pretty substantial amount of damage with that burst. Then specifically, if you get a final blow with that super burst, which again really isn't difficult to do, then your magazine goes back up to 30 instantaneously. So basically it's almost like getting a kill with subsistence in that regard, and you're granted another super burst. Which means, and as you can see in the background gameplay, even against enemies that are 10 light above me, like they have the sword symbol above their health bar, I'm able to absolutely chain super bursts and demolish these enemies. Because again, every single time you get a kill, it just re-equips that super burst. So every single time you shoot, it's that super burst, and holy crap, this thing is actually pretty insane for clearing out large groups of enemies. Now, of course, against more powerful enemies, it can fall a little bit short. That initial super burst can do a pretty hefty chunk of damage against a yellow bar, but of course, because you didn't get the kill with it, then that chain will end. You'll have to go back, kill another red bar, manually reload, and kind of start that chain again on your own. But some of you may be wondering, wait a minute, doesn't this thing come with a catalyst? And yes, if you go to the gunsmith, as always, there's a big quest that will eventually award you with the Trespasser catalyst. And according to light.gg, we already know what this catalyst does. So, in addition to potentially augmenting one of the stats, the catalyst is going to add the perk Tunnel Vision. Reloading after defeating a target greatly increases target acquisition and aim down sight speed for a short duration. Now, I mean, if we look back at that chain and that sequence of events that you have to do with the Trespasser, this definitely does help it. You're going to get that first initial kill, and then you have to do that manual reload to get your first super burst. Tunnel Vision will then trigger, giving you better target acquisition and better ADS speed, so that you're more likely to get that first kill with your super burst, which is going to give you another super burst, and you can just keep going from there. Now, the perk of the Trespasser, it actually does specifically say it automatically reloads. It does refer to topping up back to 30 as a reload. So potentially, that is going to trigger Tunnel Vision every single time when you are just chaining super bursts together. So you won't actually see a reload animation, but because the perk says the gun reloads, potentially you are still getting those tunnel vision benefits every single time you're shooting enemies with that super burst. And that is absolutely a saucy potential synergy. But in addition to that, guys, remember, if we take a look at the brand new Season of the Haunted artifact, we have anti-barrier sidearms. And we know from every other season that when a weapon type has the potential to take on champions, it becomes a lot more relevant. Weapons that you didn't think would become meta, especially in PvE, suddenly do, because you're gonna need to run them depending on the burn, especially the acute burns now being in Grandmaster Nightfalls. But again, you have to run these specific weapon types to deal with champions, and Bungie puts champions in a lot of different activities. So could running the Trespasser, putting on this mod and having it deal with champions be viable? That's all up for grabs right now, but certainly it doesn't hurt this weapon that it's part of a featured gun type this season. So all in all, I mean, I enjoyed using the Trespasser, absolutely. I was impressed by its power, and again, remember that all of those red bars I'm killing are above my level. So once I get more pinnacle gear and so on, this thing is going to be even better at ad clearing. However, with all of that being said, it isn't the best weapon I've ever seen, and would I use this over a Galahorn? Probably not, to be honest. Especially its performance in PvE is going to be hampered just because it's Arc. I mean, Solar 3.0 is the new hotness. We have a lot of seasonal artifact mods that specifically buff, solar weapons, and there's one even that buffs solar exotic weapons, for goodness sakes, letting them produce solar elemental wells. Like, that's just crazy. So this thing being, quote unquote, the wrong element is going to limit its potential just in Season 17. However, in Season 18, when Arc 3.0 comes around, this might absolutely be something you whip out and start seeing a lot more play within PvE. Where it really might end up shining, however, right now, is PvP. If that super burst can get a one-hit kill, remember guys, special weapons were nerfed a ton just this season. Scavenger mods don't even work anymore in the Crucible. So if you can now just get a one-hit kill with a primary, that might be the way to go. Especially if the tunnel vision synergy I talked about earlier ends up working, that target acquisition and all of that stuff, that's really going to matter more in the Crucible than it is in a PvE environment. So absolutely, this is a pretty impressive weapon. It can do some pretty saucy things. It might not pop off this season. However, this is absolutely something to keep an eye on when Arc 3.0 launches, and also keep an eye on it for sidearm users. I'm looking at you, True Vanguard, within the Crucible. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoy the video, and as always, have a good day.